Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my stream. Yay! Hello again, my people, and welcome to my next stream. And today's topic will be MySQL. Hello everyone in chat who's watching. Hello YouTube if you are watching this video later. Yeah, the topic today is MySQL, how you will set up a MySQL database, what is MySQL database good for, how we can compare MySQL database to XML and binary, how can we use MySQL, we are going into the methods, we are going into the queries and whatsoever. Yeah, also we are going through the installation, how to set up everything, and also how to download all the stuff we need to set up a MySQL database. And without further ado, we will start right away to set up the MySQL database. Okay, so what do we need? Well, basically we do need a MySQL server, we do need a MySQL database editor, and of course we need to implement MySQL in Visual Studio, so we have to download MySQL itself. So I guess we are starting with downloading MySQL itself. I have prepared something for it. I will go through every step together with you guys, so you don't have any problem. So what do we need? We go into Google. Pretty simple. We want to download, let me think, MySQL connector. And then we are clicking on the first entry, it is the MySQL connectors. Alright, then we want to download, let me see. We want to download, what do we actually want to download? We want to download MySQL connectors. What was it? No, that's actually pretty wrong. We want to download MySQL connectors /net. That's what we want. There you go. Then we go into the first entry and we will download the latest MySQL connector.net to implement it in our Visual Studio. So we hit download. The download should appear here. Okay, we don't want to log in or we don't want to sign up, so we just say no thanks, just start my download. Alright, starting the download. Downloading it. It is not that big. Then we are going to start it and we are going to install MySQL. So what do you need for information for the installation? Actually nothing. I have it already installed. Well, I can go to change. Yeah, you just type in, you go for typical installation or standard installation and then just move on till the installation is done. Then we're ready, then we have actually MySQL. But then we do need also a MySQL server, right? For that we are going to download XAMPP or XAMPP or whatever the name is. You can also use Apache or a MySQL server or whatsoever, but XAMPP is free, it is cool, and it makes fun. Okay, so you go to XAMPP, you will download the latest version for Windows or Linux. Doesn't matter. Well, it matters which system you use. Once you have downloaded it, I will download it. This will take quite a while. Okay, open the installation window. There you go. So what happens now is XAMPP will open. Yeah. Welcome to XAMPP installation window. Go to next. And what you want to install, you don't need all of that. Okay, you can disable fake sendmail, web analyzer, PHP my admin. We don't need Perl, we don't need Tomcat, we don't need Mercury mail server, we don't need a FileZilla FTP server, we just need the MySQL. Okay, then we go to next. XAMPP will install. I already have it installed. Yeah, so when you hit next, then it will install, and then the installation window will disappear. Alright, then you have it installed. And then you go into your search bar, search for XAMPP control panel. Then your control panel will open, and then you can actually start the MySQL server right here. You go on start, and then your MySQL server is started. Alright, now we need a database editor for MySQL. For that we are going to use Navicat. It is actually also free, and you can download it pretty easy. So we type into Google Navicat Lite, because it is the free version, and then yeah, you download anything you want. Let's say I go for CHIP. It is a German website. Download it. CHIP, blah 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 blah. Wait till it is downloaded. Okay, we open it. Okay, I want it. Alright, I don't need that one, so I say no thanks. I don't need that one, so I say no thanks. And then I'm going to install it. Okay, perfect. Installing it, there you go. Next, I accept the agreement. Next, next, next. Create a desktop icon. Okay, next, install. Okay, Navicat is now installed, and then we actually start working with Navicat first. So we can close this, we can minimize this, and then you can see right here we have Navicat Lite on our desktop, and we are going to open it. Great. I actually have opened it already. There you go. Okay. You have a blank screen right now. I'm going to delete this. And you want to set up a new connection for your MySQL database, okay? So therefore you're going to click on connection and you select MySQL. Okay. Now you have to set up a few things. The connection name, it doesn't matter. We take YouTube test. That's great. Our host IP and IP address is localhost, of course. The standard MySQL port is 3306. The username is root, and we did not have set a password, because that you have to do when you install your MySQL server, which means XAMPP. But for now, for testing purposes, it is awesome to have that. And then we hit test connection, and everything is set up correctly by the default stuff. Then your connection was successful. You hit OK, and then your connection is created. Now you double click on our YouTube test connection, and you will see a bunch of stuff. I can delete actually this one. You see a bunch of stuff right here. There's all databases, but we want to create our own database. So you right click on YouTube test, and you hit new database. So now we can create our very own and first database within MySQL, and we call this database YouTube. And hit OK. We can leave this blank right here, and we hit OK. Now we double left click on our YouTube database, and you see a few things will open. Then we click on tables, double click actually on it. Okay, awesome. And then you hit right here on the top the new table field, okay, to create new tables. So what is a table? In a table you can store a lot of information like account data, like the username, the password, and level, and position of the player, and everything you want. Good. So we hit on new table, and now we need to create the fields of it. So the first field is always in every database, and when you make an account database, you say ID. The type of the ID will be an integer. We don't need to add a length right there. We do not allow null, and it will be a primary key. So you hit this target right here. Okay. As next, every time you are creating a new account, you want the ID to increase by 1. Okay, so you hit auto increment. So every time a new account is registered, then he will insert a new table with a new account field, and everything is going automatically. Alright, we have that. Then we hit press the tab key to create a new field. And the next field will be actually our account name. So we call it just name. The type will be a varchar, for it is basically the same as a string. The length will be 255. We do not allow null. And then we have tab 2 times, and we say what else we want to store. We want to store password. It is also a varchar, and we want a length of 255. And also we do not want allow null. Okay, then we hit save. Boom, and now we can enter a table name. So in this example, our table name will be called accounts. Okay, now it is saved. We can close it, and now you see your table right here. You can double click on it, and boom, as you can see, there's an ID, a name, and a password. So everything is blank right now. And now we are setting up the MySQL connection and start trying to insert information in this database, and also try to get information from this database. Okay, so we close this, we don't need this, we can minimize this. And now we are actually starting Visual Studio and creating a new project. So hit project, a C# project. In this case, we are going to create a console application. We are using the newest net framework, and we call this console application, I don't know, YouTube MySQL test. Alright, hit OK, and then our project would be there. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, to add the MySQL actually into your project, you will right click on how is it called in English, on directives or something like that, and then you go on assemblies and you search for MySQL. Microsoft, was it Microsoft MySQL? Let me see. System. Huh. Let me see. MySQL data link Q. It should be right here. It should be MySQL data. MySQL data is right here. My frameworks. Wait a second. MySQL. There you go. You go on MySQL data, just type in MySQL, and MySQL data should appear automatically when you have installed the correct version, as I showed you before. You check it, and then you press OK. Okay, now on top of that, we are creating, it is always good to create an own class for your MySQL setup, okay? The reason is the code is cleaner, and when you have a problem, then you actually know what to do. So we create a new class, and we call this, I don't know, MySQL. Yeah, just call it MySQL. Add this new class, and then basically we can delete all of this, and then we are adding using mysql.data.mysql client. Alright, first of all, we are going to start with the MySQL connector library, which we just have added, and now we are going to declare and initializing the variables we are using. Okay. So first of all, we do need, for our MySQL connection, we do need some information, like we do need information for our connection right here. So what we need is our IP address where our MySQL server is located. We do need the port well, actually we don't need the port. We do need the username, we do need the password, and we actually need our database name to connect to this specific database. Okay, so first of all, we do need to create a new instance of our MySQL connection, which will be a private variable, and we say private MySQL, what is it? Oops, MySQL connection. And the name will be just connection. And then we do need, for our information, we do need a private string for the server IP. We do need a private string for our database name. We do need a private, wait, I will expand it a little bit so you can see it. And also we do need a private string for our user ID. So we say UID. It is for the username. And then we do need a private string for our MySQL connection password. Alright, as next we are going to create our first method where we going to connect to the database. Well, simple. For that we are going to create a public, we call it, I don't know, connect to MySQL. Oops, public void, I'm sorry. Connect to MySQL. And then we can say initialize. Oops. Why I do that? Because the code is cleaner and we have actually an overview what we are doing. So we are creating this method initialize now, where we initialize our MySQL connection. So we are creating a private void and we call this initialize. And now we are going to set up some stuff. So first of all, our server is equal to our MySQL connection, which is localhost currently, okay? Localhost. Then we do need our database name. So database equals, what is our database name? Let me double check. It is called YouTube. Okay, so we type in here YouTube. Our user ID, so UID is equal to our MySQL connection username, which is in this case, if I remember correctly, connection information, it is a root, that is our username. So we type in here root, and our password, we didn't set up a password, so we'll just leave this blank. Alright, so now as you can see, it's just basically the same like here, and everything should be good to go. Alright, as next, we are creating a new string. We call this string connection string. Connection string. So how MySQL is working, MySQL works as that. It has its own queries, it has its own strings where MySQL executes their commands, okay? So we always have to work with the MySQL queries, which I will show you during this video. So our connection string will be, so we say string connection string, and our connection string is, connection string is equal to, now it is the logging connection string. The string how to connect to a server is following. So you have to uppercase write everything server equals plus our server information, we did right here, so our localhost, plus what is this word in English? Let me Google. In English. What is this? How do you call sign? Oh, that's sharp. What is this sign called? Symbol, number sign. Maybe you guys in chat know how this sign is called. What is this sign? colon? Is it a colon? Semicolon? Colon? No, it is a semicolon, right? Semicolon. Yeah, there you go. It is a semicolon. Okay, right. So, you type in your connection string server equals plus your server, then a semicolon for the next information, which will be plus database equals plus database semicolon plus semicolon plus what is next? I guess user ID UID equals UID equals plus your UID, which you did set up, plus our semicolon, plus our password equals plus password, and then we hit the semicolon again in our string, and then the actual semicolon right after that. Okay, that's how the connection string should look like in your case. And you have to write it exactly like this, else you won't be able to connect to the server and it will print out an error. Good. And then we can say, we can actually connect to our database. We can say connection equals new MySQL connection, and then we want to add our connection string to it. Boom. Now we are able to connect to our server. Good. As next, I have to check my notes. I did prepare the source code already, and now I have to check my notes, so don't worry when I look to the left every time. Okay, as next we want to actually connect to our server. Okay, for that we are creating a bool. So a public bool, and we call this bool open connection. Okay, why we are creating a bool? So because when you are connected, and then he will execute the code. If you're not connected, then he won't execute the code, and then you won't get the error, or your game crashes, or your server will crash. And basically every time you want to access the MySQL database, you have to open and close the connection. So when you insert an account into the MySQL database, you have to open the connection, and right after that you have to close the connection after you are done. Else you won't be able to open another table. Okay? So it is like a stream. Open the stream, close the stream, else you cannot access the file. Simple as that. Okay. Now we are creating a try catch block, and in the try block we are adding connection.open to open the MySQL connection, and then we can return a true. So once that is open, okay, we set this to true, and then we can continue further. But else, now here's the thing. If we are not able to connect to the server, in this catch block, it will print out an error. And for that, we are not using the exception, we are using the MySQL exception. And we call this EX just for the lols. And now you can read through the error codes. You will be able to read through the MySQL documentation, and you will see a bunch of error codes, but there's actually only 2 error codes which are important. It is the connection to the server. It has the error code 0, if I remember correctly, and there is the error when you type in the wrong username and the wrong password. This is the error code 14, wait, let me check. It is the error code 1045. Okay, good. We are making a comment, so we say those 2 errors are the most common one on the connection to MySQL. Error 1, error code 0, is what is it? Cannot connect to the server. So probably my SQL server is down. And then there is the error code. What did I say? 1045. This means username or password of the connection is wrong. Okay, we can test it, I think, right away. So we are creating a switch statement in our catch block and say ex.number. So case number 0 break. So when this error happens, when this error code happens, then we can say console.writeLine unable to connect to the server. Is this my SQL server started? Server started, and then we have the case number 1045. Break it, which says console.writeLine username or password of the connection is wrong. Okay, we can test it right away, and then we can say what we can say: catch block return false. Okay, we now can check our MySQL connection. So we initialize it, and therefore we are creating public static main. We are go back to our program CS. We are creating a new instance of our MySQL class. So we say MySQL equals a new MySQL instance, and then we can say MySQL dot is it public? Public void. It has to be a public class if I remember correctly. MySQL.connect. No, is it connect to MySQL? Connect to MySQL, so we initialize it. Connect to MySQL. Okay, and then we can say MySQL.open connection. And then we say to let the console application open, we can say console.readline. So, what we are going to test right now, I know the connection will be successful, but for the information video, we will shut down our MySQL server. And now we are trying to connect to the MySQL server through the code. And what will happen is this: the error code will print out. It will not print out. What? What? Why is that? What? Nothing happens. Okay, let me check again. Open connection, try catch, switch. Switch number. What is the number? 1042. Ah, it is the 1042. 1042. No, what is 1042? What is 1042? So we add the 1042. 1045 is, I know, it is the username. And case 1042 console. Yes, there we go. I'm back. Awesome. My internet just went down again, always at the same time. So actually it is a bad time to create a stream doing that. So yeah, there's already a question in the stream why we are not using, for example, exception to string. Well, because sometimes the error code of MySQL can be irritating, okay, and it can be irritating, and so you can create your own error message. So we know, okay, fuck, I'm not connected to my SQL server because that is my error message. And yeah, so we are using 1042 and see what happens. So we start, yeah, and boom, that is the error message. As you can see, that's why you don't use exception to string. As you can see, you will get a bunch of information. So our information, we could not connect to our computer, to our MySQL server. That's why the error happens. So I'm going to start my SQL server, and now on purpose I am going to change the username to root2. And now what happens here is I'm going to start, and as you can see, unable to connect to the MySQL server. Is the MySQL server started? That means wrong username is actually number 1. They have actually changed it. Okay. Then we change it like that. Oops. We change it like that. Username or password of the connection is wrong. And then the 1045 must be the database. We are going to check it. Root YouTube. We are going to start. What happens? Username or password is wrong. Okay, the error message. They actually have changed their documentation for some reason. So 1045 is actually now database was not found. There you go. Okay, awesome. And the 1045 is actually unable to connect to the MySQL server. Is the server down? Great. Okay. Now we are able to connect to our MySQL server properly. When I hit this, no message should appear. Perfect, I'm connected to the MySQL server. And now we can actually create our first method to insert a new user into our MySQL database. Okay, for that we are going to minimize everything of that, and we're creating a new method. But first of all, we have to create actually the close connection, because every time we open the connection to access a table of MySQL, we need to close it as well. So we are going to add a new let's say public bool close connection. Good. And then again a try catch block. We say we are trying to close the connection, so we say connection dot close, and then we return true. And then our catch will be then again a MySQL. Man, I cannot type today. MySQL exception ex, and then we say console.writeLine. So x.message, and then we return false. So if we are not unable to close the connection for any reason whatever, then it will print out the correct message. So, and now we are able to create our first method to insert information into our MySQL database. So we are creating a new public void, and we call this insert. So this is just an example. You can call it whatever you want. And for that we actually need a string, MySQL query, which insert information into your MySQL database. For that we are going to create a string, and we call this simple query. And the query is equal, if I look correctly into my notes, we need to use the code insert into, which says everything, right? You want to insert information into a specific table of a database. So we want to insert into our database, into our table accounts. So we put in right here, insert into accounts, and then we want to insert multiple values. So we make an open bracket, and we want to insert into the field, let me see, what fields do we have? Into our field name and into our field password. So we type in right here, name, comma, password. Make sure those names, okay, make sure those names are exactly the same you did set up in your table. And then we close the bracket again. And then the values, so uppercase values, and now the values are coming into the game. So you want, first of all, you have the you want to insert your name into the field name, into the row name. So you are going to add the name, for example, Kevin. Use that sign, okay? I don't actually know what is called in English. Maybe you can tell me real quick in the chat. Then hit comma, and then your password will be, I don't know, secret password, and then that sign again. And then we close the bracket, okay? And that's it. That's our query. That's how you insert information into the row name and password. And those are the values. Okay, you can also say insert string name, string password as parameter, and then you can actually delete this and delete this. Hit a plus, and then you say name, and then you hit a plus right there, plus, and then your password. Okay, that works as well, which we are going to reuse right now too. And then we need to open the connection, okay? Remember, always open the connection to the MySQL database to insert stuff into it. After your query message is done, then close the connection. So we say if open connection is equal to true, okay? So we open the connection, and when the connection is open, so if it's true, and then we can say we create a new MySQL command. So MySQL command, we say cmd for command is equal to a new MySQL command, and we do need a string of command text, which will be our query, and our connection, which will be our connection. Simple as that. After that, we need to give the MySQL the command to actually execute this query, okay? Else he won't do anything. So we say cmd execute non-query. That's the code to execute the actual query. So the stuff will happen into the MySQL database. And after that, do me the favor, after that, close the connection, else you won't be able to open another table on the MySQL database. So we are going to close the connection. Perfect. And actually we can test it right away. So we go back to our program, remove the open connection. So we connect to the MySQL server. Okay, so MySQL connect to the server. Let me comment it for you. Create a new instance of the MySQL class. Sets up the connection to the MySQL server. Okay, and now we can actually insert our first player into the database. So we say MySQL dot insert, and now we can choose, I don't know, the name will be Kevin, and the password will be, as I said, secret password. Okay, now when I hit play, when I hit play, I'm going to start. You see no message there because we didn't actually set up a message. But now, what happens now when we go back to our database? So let me close that. So we go back to our database, YouTube, tables, and double click on accounts. The user should be in there. So let me check, double click on accounts, and boom, as you can see, our first player is into the MySQL database with the ID 0, with the ID 1, then we have the name and we have our password. And now, what happens next when we create a new user? So we say Kevin2, and our secret password is, I don't know, lol, and we hit start. What happens next? When I go back to my account, right click and refresh, as you can see, the second player is in our database and it has the ID 2. Awesome, isn't it? It is magic. I don't know. Okay, perfect. Now we are actually able to insert user data into the MySQL database. But now, what we want to do as next, we want to update the user, okay? So, this is also very important. So, for example, your player or whatsoever wants to change his name or wants to change his password. You cannot actually delete this user and create a new user, because imagine you have a game server, okay? You store information like the perfect example, you want to save the position of the player. To do that without deleting the player and recreating the player into the database, you need the update function to update a certain value of this MySQL database. And this is our next step. So we are going back to our MySQL class and we create another function called public void update. Okay, again we do want a string of name. Basically, yeah, we just need a name. That's it, to search, which basically means we are going to search if the name, for example Kevin, exists in the MySQL database. Then we take the complete row right here, and then we are looking for the field, for the row which we want to change. In this example, we want to change the password, and then we are going to change the password in the MySQL database, if you can follow me. So, as next, again, we do need a string of a query to execute the command on the MySQL server, and the command is actually update. Again, everything uppercase, update. If I remember, the database name, which will be account. So we want to update the account database, and we want to set. A new password. We want to set a new password. So we want to set, for example, password. Is it password? Yeah, we want to set the row password. We want to insert a new information into the row password, and the new value will be actually string new password. Will be single quote. Thank you, Kara. Shout out to you. Single quote, and then your value of plus new password plus single quote again. Where is it? No. Oops. Plus single quote again. And then we actually want to search where we want to add a new value. And then we say where the user, so where name is equal. So where the name is equal to our single quote plus single quote, and then plus our name, and then single quote again, and then semicolon plus. There you go. Okay, so we want to update the database accounts. We want to set a new password where the name is our username, which makes sense. Okay, the next function is again, we need to open the connection, so we say if open connection is equal to true. So if connection is equal to true, then we want to create again a new MySQL command. So we say MySQL command, so cmd is equal to new MySQL command. And then we need to assign this time a new command text because we are updating the table. So we need to add cmd.command text is equal to our query. As next, we need to assign the connection using our connection, which will be cmd.connection is equal to connection. And then we can say cmd.execute non-query. And then we again close the connection. Boom. Now we can actually call it right there and we can test it. So we can say we already have created our player, so we want to MySQL update. Which player we want to update? We want to update Kevin. So we want to update Kevin and we want to change the password. So the new password the actual password is secret password, and we want to use a new password of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, for example. Alright, we are oops, I wrote Kevin wrong, so Kevin. Now when we are going to start, again no error message, everything is fine. We go into our account table, we right click refresh, and as you can see, our password has been changed. It is changed, so awesome. So what we can do right now, we can insert a new player and we can update an existing player. But now we want also delete a player, okay? We want to delete a complete player with all his information. And that is our next step. So go back to our MySQL CS, and what we are doing next, we are going to create another public void, and we call this simple as that, delete. And we do need a string of name to delete a certain person. So again, we do need a string. We call this query, and then equals to. Now the query to delete a player or delete any information of the MySQL database is uppercase delete, and then actually delete from our database accounts, because we want to exit our account database and we want to delete an entry of that. Not database, from a table. Our database is already connected, so we want to delete a certain value from our account fields. So delete from accounts where the name is equal single quote plus our name plus single quote. And that's it. So we are searching in our table accounts. We are searching in the row name, where the name is equal to Kevin, for example. And then we want to delete Kevin. Okay, so we have that done. And then we can say again MySQL command cmd equals to new MySQL command. And then we can say cmd.execute non-query. And after we have done that, we want to close the connection. Good. Now we are testing it right away. We are going back to our program. We can delete this, and we say mysql.delete. And we actually want to delete our player Kevin. So we type in there Kevin. So MySQL delete Kevin. We hit start. What happens next? Connection must be valid and open. Aha, as you can see, we do not open the connection. That was actually my bad. So we need to add an if statement. So if open connection is equal to true, then we can execute the commands. There you go. Oops. We start. What? Connection must be valid and open. Well, isn't it open? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? If open connection is equal to true. Huh? 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 Oh yeah, I forgot to set the connection. So cmd.connection is equal to connection. Sorry for that. And then cmd execute non-query, blah 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 blah. And we're going to start the command text property. Oh my god. Of course we do need to add a command of text. So cmd.text command text is equal to query. No, fuck that. I so dumb. I did the same stuff wrong over there. You can delete this. We can use this new MySQL command right there. So we can say query there and connection. There you go. It is the easy way. Now we can hit start. And now what happens? No error. Awesome. Our Kevin player still exists, but now when we refresh the database, boom, Kevin is away. There you go. Now we can insert a new value into our account database. We can update a certain value and we can delete it. But now the actually most important part, where everyone is probably watching this tutorial, you want actually to get every information from a certain player. Okay? You want to get every information of a certain player. So that is a little bit more complicated to accomplish. For that, we actually need to create a new method. Well, actually, we need to create a new function, a string function. So we say public list of string. Public list of string. It is an array, and we call this select. It is the select method of MySQL. So you can select different pieces of the MySQL database to print it out. So we are going to select everything, and now we need to create a new list to store actually the information we want to print out. So we are going to say list string, and we call this list is equal to new list of a string, and our array size will be, I don't know, I want to print out 3 values. Okay, is it correct? List array, there you go. I want to print out 3 values, and my list of array 0, the first entry, is equal to new list string. My list 1, index of 1, is equal to new list string, and my list 2 is equal to new list string. So what we are actually trying to do is we are trying to load 3 different accounts, okay, and print all of their information which we did set up in the MySQL database. Okay, now we are open the connection. So if open connection is equal to true, we are going to create a new MySQL command. MySQL command is equal to MySQL command, and actually I forgot to create a query. I'm sorry of that. So on the very top we are going to create a new string. We call this again query, and this time it is a little bit more easy. We can say select. We want to select everything, that's why we are going to use that sign. I actually don't know the word in English, maybe you do know it. You can write it in the chat right now. So we want to select everything from our table accounts. Boom. That's the query. That's everything we need. And now we actually type in here the query and the connection. MySQL command. There you go. And then we need actually to create a data reader to execute the account. So we're creating a MySQL data reader. We call this just data reader. Data reader equals to cmd dot execute reader. So it loops through the information, okay, and gather all the information from the table. Simple as that. And then now we are going to read everything out from the database to store it in our array list. So how do we do that? So we are making a while loop. So while data reader dot read. So while the reader is reading, we have put every information into our string array list. So list array 0 is dot add, and then we say our data reader, and then we want what information we want to print out from our first player. We want to print out the ID, the name, and the password. So we say ID, and then plus, yeah, that one. It stands for, if I'm correct, for a new line. Is it for a new line or is it just space? Well, it doesn't matter. And then list1 dot add data I cannot type. Data reader. We want to print out the information of name plus a little bit space. And then, of course, the last information will be our password. So we say list3 add data reader, and then we add the password field. Is it everything in lowercase? Yeah, lowercase. Password plus a little bit of space. And then we are reading out everything, every player, and all his information. And then after that, we are going to close the reader. So data reader dot close. And after that, we are going to close the connection. Okay, so simple as that. So close the connection. And then we are actually returning the list. And else, we still return the list, empty list, if an error happens. But then we know, okay, error happens, the the string is empty. And yeah, awesome. Now we are going or trying to actually use this. So I want to create, well, let's say we just have one player in our database, which will hopefully be not the case for your game. So we just have the second player, Kevin, with the ID 2, with the name Kevin2 and the password lol. And now we can say we create there a new list. So list. List, I have a look at my notes. A list of string array. We call this list. And it is equal to our MySQL.select list. Okay. And after that, we are looping through the list. So for int I equals 0 and is less than list 0 dot count, which basically means we loop through the whole list which we have created. Then we are going to say console.writeLine, I don't know, list 0 and then the index of I, and then another one, console.writeLine. We can just copy and paste it. We have 3 informations and we want to print out 3 informations, so the array 1 and the array 2. Is that correct? Yeah, that is correct. Okay, now we are actually going to test it. If it prints out my ID, my name, and my password. So when I hit start, what happens? Nothing happens. The index is out. Oh, okay. Oops. I typed a 3 right here, not a 2. Okay, so I start again. Boom, it prints out my ID, my username, and my password right here. Awesome, isn't it? And now actually, before we are going to read out the list, we are going to create a new player. That means MySQL, was it MySQL? What? It was, damn, it is the wrong method. Go back to program, we can say MySQL.insert a new user, we say, I don't know, Akashui, and then the password will be loser, for example, and then we are adding the player into our database and then directly print out the information. So we are going to start, and as you can see, it prints out now every player. So Kevin with the ID 2, the name Kevin2, the password lol, and then the next player with the index 3, and the name is Akashui, and the password is loser. And that's how you use MySQL efficient, okay? What can we do right now? Well, we can create a connection to a MySQL server. We can open a MySQL server. We can create a database. We can connect to the database. We can insert information. We can update information. We can delete information, and we can print out every information we want. Okay, that is pretty awesome and pretty big, and that you can use for your game server, for Unity, and whatsoever. If you want to import this project to Unity, well, you don't have to change anything, right? You can just copy and paste this and put it into Unity, and you will be able to connect with Unity to a MySQL server. Awesome! Well, that's it for the tutorial, and hopefully you guys did like it. If so, leave a like, leave a comment. You can join also my Discord server. The link will be down below into the description. There you can write with me. Also, it is an awesome Discord channel. Those people are awesome. I love you guys. And also, if you want to support me, you can actually go and check out my Patreon page. And also, you can visit my forum, www.kevinkmark.com. The link will be down below in the description as well. My Twitter is there and all social stuff. And yeah, so if you like it, leave a like, leave a comment, share the video, I don't know. And yeah, thank you for watching, and see you guys on my Discord channel, or on the next stream, or on the next tutorial video. Thank you for watching, guys. Have fun with developing your game or whatever you are doing, and see you soon. Bye, thanks, and have a good night.